by Garage Door Guys in KC, and Arm Assassin Strength Shop. To remind everyone, Arm Assassin Strength Shop, we have a promo code that is exclusive to our viewers, which use the promo code Arm Crossfire for 5% off in the store. Plus, we have our stay-at-home workout challenge for the month of April, where you can submit some stuff to us. We're going to pick out the best exercises, the best video. Is that not right, Gabi? You're making a face.
No, you're right, spot on. I just woke up, so you have to bear
And
with me.
we're going to pick the winner by the end of the month, and you get $50 American, which is quite a bit of money for us Canadian viewers. So, yeah, it is what it is, guys. So, Herman Stevens, part 2. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Now, what's going on behind you, man? What is happening there?
Well, I don't know. Can you guys see that clearly?
Yes. Well, it looks
quite a bit of wreckage. So that was Gabi's guest house. It kind of came with my house, and I guess it was about 8 by 8, little metal shed, and it was covered in vines or whatever. But Gabi didn't really come down and put the effort into keeping it up, so it just had to go. So yeah,
I just neglected it, man. To be honest, I just neglected it. I had the opportunity to come down, never did. That's on me.
Yeah, and he even has friends in Austin, like one guy named Jolt Griffin. I thought Gabi could have got him to come down and at least gotten it ready for him so he could come down for Christmas.
Jolt,
every Christmas.
And that guy's an asshole.
Unfortunately, it was just full of crap and snakes and rats and all kinds of stuff, so it had to go.
I don't trust that Jolt.
Know, did you guys know that you could go on Facebook Marketplace and put free shed and free chain link fence, and people will come and dig up all this stuff for you for free?
I did know that.
Yeah, it's truly amazing.
I once got rid of an old TV antenna that way.
Yeah, so I'm just looking for stuff like free trash. Come get it.
Yeah, everyone will come if you put the word free.
Free arm wrestling handles, because there's a lot of those rolling around.
Well, most of those handles should be free because they're not worth a shit.
That's right.
I think we'll get to that later.
Ooh, I don't know, man. That's almost somewhere I want to go right now.
But don't you think, Ryan, that there's slightly, like, when it comes to grippers and handles, more is not necessarily better. Like, maybe I was talking to Herman about it. Like, essentially, maybe you have 2 or 3 that you'll need. Other than that, it's just overkill. Like, I don't know how many. I mean, the one Raymond sent me I already had a similar version, and that's one of the staples I use. But there are so many handles that people have that I don't think do much.
There are there's a wide variety, man, and companies are duplicating each other and kind of ripping each other's designs off. And yeah, there's some that have value and some that do not. And I guess it depends on your training style, but
yeah, I really don't think you probably don't need more than 2 or 3 implements. Like that money would be better spent on a cable machine or something, or a gym membership or something along those lines. But to have thousands of dollars in these handles, which I'm sure there are quite a few people that do, it's completely unnecessary.
Yeah. Is there a piece of arm wrestling equipment in the history of our sport that is more useless and overrated than grippers?
No.
Yeah, that's probably the worst. I mean, I bought them. I bought the whole Captains of Crush set. I just found, and this was 10 years ago. I just found it to be boring, right? And I think if I went from closing a 2.5, which I could do with no training, a 2.5 to a 4, maybe I would be stronger on the table. But I've also pulled those guys way early in my career that were probably those types of guys that could close 3s, 3.5s, maybe even 4s. And I don't think they felt as strong as I was on a table hand-wise, even at the beginning, when I had no real training. So, yeah, I don't see the point. But even the rolling handles, right? 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, like you really don't need it, right? And I mean, I've never grabbed a guy, whose hand was like this.
No, me neither. And I pulled some big guys. Probably the biggest hands, like Jeff Dave, but your hand isn't like that. And I have closed number 3 because I set out to close number 3 as part of the whole record thing, right? There's a video out there of me doing it, but It made zero difference in my arm wrestling. It probably took away because I was putting effort into a piece of training that was not of any value. And I remember when the Opitz brothers showed up at the Arnold Classic, and they had this handle that was probably like this, and you were gripping it like this, like it was supposed to have some sort of value. And they were making everyone give it a go, and man, it was worthless. I
Well,
tell you,
it already became worthless when you mentioned the Opitz brothers.
Yeah.
we did. There was I'll tell you a little story. We had this one girl, and every match she had, her hand would open like this all the time. And I said, "What are you doing for training?" "Well, I'm doing all kinds of hand and wrist stuff, like I'm gripping a softball with weight on it, like this." I'm like, "So you're training with your hand like this, and then you're wondering why your hand keeps going to that exact same position."
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I stand corrected. The dumbest thing I've ever seen. And well, I don't know if you've ever seen the video where Michael Todd takes these two you mentioned softballs, two softballs on like on a machine, and he just twists them inwards and then he twists them outwards, and he says, "I get a great forearm pump." It's not hard to get a good forearm pump. You can get a good forearm pump with anything that's super light if you want to sit there long enough. But if you look at what he's trying to do with it, it doesn't really like it's good for blood flow, but you're really not. There is no carryover to the arm wrestling table.
Now in the one case of Michael Todd where he's doing a circuit, it probably has some value because he's training all the parts together. But as a specialty item, I don't think that it's any value.
Yeah, I remember in 2005 going down to Middlebury, Vermont, which was not far from me, to train with Bill Sinks, and there was like six, seven guys, and they all had the grippers out, and they were closing the twos and the threes, and I tried with the three, and I couldn't close the three. I grabbed the two, I couldn't close the two. They said, "Well, try 1.5." I think it was 1.5, and I could maybe close it an inch, and then they said, "Well, try the practice thing," and I sat there and I closed the practice one, but it was hard. Then I thought, I'm gonna get torched. Like I was like 6 months into the sport, I didn't know any of these guys, and then Bill Sinks on the practice table was rolling everyone, and I could stop him. I mean, he was pinning me, but I was able to stop his initial pronation and force him in a hook. And that's when I realized these things mean nothing. Like,
Yeah.
they have, in terms of the arm wrestling carryover to win matches and to be efficient on the table, they have no carryover.
Yeah. And then back to the Michael Todd and the softballs thing. I mean, so one, Michael's not a beginner, so if he's doing something, there's probably a reason for it, And the thing is, for Michael, it could be just blood flow with no arm wrestling carryover, and that might just be a target for him for recovery or whatever. I'm sure Michael still does a lot of bodybuilding and aesthetic related stuff. The problem is that, like, I see those things and I know, well, I don't need to do that if I'm trying to be a better arm wrestler. It's all the beginners that look at this stuff and go, "Wow, Michael Todd, messes with these softballs," and then they do this shit, and it's not the most effective way for them to get better. So it just kind of gets bastardized as it goes down. But with respect to handles, I mean, who cares if you had one rolling handle and it was 2 inches in diameter? If you're moving 100, 200, 300 pounds with it, who gives a fuck if you have a 4-inch handle or a 3-inch handle or the 2.5-inch handle or the 1.5-inch handle? Like, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So I don't know. I think a lot of these guys are wasting a lot of money.
And time. I mean, time doing 30, 40, 50 minutes a day of auxiliary handle work. I mean, I agree. It's money, but it's also time.
Yeah. Or let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. If you have like a standard Olympic lifting bar, about that big around, I mean, if you can do rack deads with it with 800-900 pounds, your fingers are going to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily need a 3-inch handle to do that type of thing. But I think those guys, I don't sell training services, but those guys would be much better taking that money and like just, buying some time from a legit arm wrestler, and tell them, "Hey, explain to me what I need to do." And they'd be far more productive and progress a whole lot faster.
And I can't really think of another sport that has such a variety of different training styles. Like, it's so vast. Like, nobody's doing anything the same. There's not really even a fundamental.
I think maybe in Europe there is. I think in Europe there's a fundamental base of training for new guys. They just know what to do. I think if you go into a club, there's a standard training regimen for beginners. I just think mostly it's in North America that you have. Well, if you ask 25 different elite arm wrestlers, you get 25 different answers on how to start training for their arm wrestling career. So, everyone has a different philosophy based on how they train, right? Some guys are hitters, some guys are grinders. So, I mean, there is no straight answer. I mean, there could be if you really wanted to break, to get the sharpest minds together, you could probably figure it out. I think Todd Hutchins came pretty close, but there is no standard here.
Yeah, we're just not organized like that.
No.
In Europe, I mean, they have, structure, organization,
Yeah.
coaches, staff, where they can bounce these ideas off each other and then say, here's the game plan for every new person that comes in. But I mean, there are very few teams that are even that consistent.
Yeah, my team has that at
especially
practice. We have a fairly regimented practice, and when we train. It's not just a get together where you can boil crawfish and drink beer, right? In the middle of a pandemic where you're getting all your friends together.
Yeah, and my team's fairly young, so two of them went to the Corona Clash in Mississippi. So, and then one wants to
What the hell is
practice.
that? The Corona
He wonders why no one wants to practice. It's like, dude, you work on an army base that has no Corona protocol, and then you go all the way to Mississippi and you go train with Sean Hancock, who's, as far as I can tell, is literally going out in public and hugging everybody because the coronavirus is a hoax.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so now we can't practice here in Lake Charles.
Yeah. Well, it's getting to the point where I personally know people that have died from it, so it's that's quite a hoax.
Yeah.
Jokes
And the
on
thing is, okay, so look, I'm 30 or whatever, so I'm probably not going to die. My wife's probably not going to die. Odds are my son wouldn't die, but you never know. I mean, he could have like some respiratory illness that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But check this out. Let's say no one dies. Okay. Just because we're people and this is how we react to stuff. If I get it, I go to work, they find out, they shut the plant down, everyone goes home jobless without pay.
Yeah.
Right. And unemployment's not paying any of our bills or not covering any of our bills, So I think some people are just very short-sighted. It doesn't matter if it's hoax. It doesn't even matter if it's not real. What matters is what the reality of the situation is and how it's going to be handled.
Yeah.
And the handling will be that you will lose your job and people will suffer, over this, even if nobody dies, because you decided to go to Corona Clash or you decided that it was a hoax and you decided that you were going to, live your best life, during the coronavirus pandemic or the COVID-19 pandemic. It's pretty interesting.
Let me get your perspective on this, seeing how we're on this subject now. What is all this talk about people losing their rights in the United States because they're being told what to do, and it's impeding their freedom that they have to take measures to stop the coronavirus? Like, where is that even coming from?
Well, I mean, I guess there's some truth to it, right? So if you tell me that I can't leave my house, I guess I have less freedom today than I would have had 2 weeks ago. Is there a reason for it? Yeah, I get it. Social distancing, blah, 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 blah. And then, but you do have a lot of people that are concerned that I guess this would become the permanent situation, President Trump enacted a couple acts or whatever that allows him to control American companies, right? He can tell you what to make or when to make it or where to deliver it to. And, yeah, I mean, I guess it's not something you should ignore. It's something you should be aware of. I mean, government does try to take it, but as Rob Vigeant said, most of these people aren't going to do anything about it. They're just going to sit at home and buy more guns and just talk about it. So I don't know. If you're not going to do something about it, I don't know if it's worth really raising a lot of hell over.
Because I think the general attitude in Canada is that we're just going to do what we can to flatten the curve. How is it where you are, Gabi?
Well, there were no cases at all, and then a family came back from vacation, and they were told to go right home and go right into quarantine. Now, of course, they intended to do that, but they stopped at the local grocery store, and they passed on. One of them had the virus, and they passed it on. And so in my area, it has been spread somewhat, but we're talking about less than a handful of cases. and they're restricting areas. So, for example, if you bridge down the area and you can't go 12 miles in any direction, and then you have what do you call it? The cops are stopping people and stuff like that. So it's pretty. And I understand, kind of, it sucks. But if you're working, work will give you a paper saying that you can travel into a different region if your work asks you to. And we all understand that the quicker we get a handle on this, the quicker we can get out of this. And the goal is to get out of this. And obviously, we don't have long summers. We have 5 months of good weather per year. So we'd like to get out of here, get out of this, and have our summer, or as much of it as we can. But like I said, if you feel that your freedom is being curtailed in some way, it's only because it's what logic demands. It's not like someone's hatching a scheme to fuck with your freedom in your life because they want to see you struggle. There's a reason behind this. But when you have small minds, you have irrational fear, and they don't completely understand what's going on. So when you completely don't understand what's going on, you automatically go to fear and conspiracies because that's all your mind can digest. And I see that with a lot of arm wrestlers. Well, not a lot, but it's happening a little bit more in the South. And I just think it's laughable. But ironically, it won't affect me because they can't come across into our country. What it'll do is it'll affect their region, their country, from getting out of this. If we get out of this in June, July, they'll still be, dwelling come fall, come October, maybe. So who knows? But there's logic behind everything that the government's doing. There's no conspiracy.
And it's worldwide. Like, it's not.
Yeah.
Like the Russians have shut everything down. Last time we were on the show, Herman, how many cases did I say were in Manitoba? It was like 10 or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't very many.
Yeah, it's over 200 now.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's within a couple of weeks with social distancing. And a couple people have died. And we're in it, man.
The fact that you can.
Louisiana's tracking, or was tracking, to be as bad as Italy at one point.
Yeah.
The fact that you can have no symptoms, feel great, and spread it onto people, and they can spread it onto people, is the dangerous thing, right?
So we canceled all practices as soon as we got in the thick of this, and because we're not idiots. Sorry, Sean. Come on, get your head out of your ass. I don't even train with my training partner anymore because he works at a hospital, and we're just not doing that.
Yeah, and again, it's not a selfishness thing. It's like, again, I'm probably not going to die. I would just hate to pick it up or go spread it to somebody else that would die, or spend a significant amount of time in the hospital, or overload the hospital so that people that don't have COVID-19 that need medical care can't get the care, and then they die.
Yeah.
And they don't even have COVID-19. That's the thing. It's not the first step. It's not me talking to you or me interacting with you. It's the second, third, fourth, fifth level.
Yeah.
Where it just kind of really trails down. And I mean, of course, one of the arguments is, well, they still let people go to the grocery store. They still let people go to work. Certain people. Yeah, that's fine. You don't want people, all businesses shutting down, no one getting paid, and then people killing each other. So you let some of this stuff go along. And even if you have a 50% reduction in social interaction, it's an exponential decrease in the spread of COVID-19. So, yeah, sure, we didn't shut everything down, but that doesn't mean it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, you go in my town of 13,000 people. You go to the grocery store and they stop you and they set limits with you at the door, and they only let so many people in. And it's a little bit. Well, it's really controlled, but I like it.
Yeah, my local grocery store, when you walk in, we have volunteers that alcohol down the carts and present hand purifier, hand sanitizer, and stuff like that. In a certain way, like this is frustrating and stuff, but another way, if this would have happened in another time in humanity, people just could have been died and say, well, fuck it. We're doing all this just to protect the vulnerable, the sick, or people that have underlying health issues. So, I mean, in a certain way, and when we come out of this, there'll be a stronger sense of community, possibly, at least in my country, our country. So I don't, there are not silver linings, but there are things that are positive that you can shed light on.
Yeah.
It's not that terrible.
Anyway, yeah, I'm the worst dad in the world right now too, because my 15-year-old daughter's not allowed to see her boyfriend. Which, That's not the worst thing in the world either. All right, gents, let's move on. Let's go on to something a little more positive. We started this show off.
Let's talk Ryan Bowen.
Yeah, we started the show off, and immediately there were some people in the comment section talking about Ryan Bowen says Herman is ducking him, and it will be a relatively easy match. That came up immediately. That was like the third comment when we went live. So what do you say about that?
So, you know, I think Ryan's a good arm wrestler. You know, and I would expect Ryan to think that he could beat me, and maybe he should, and maybe he's just better. It's not a big deal. No sweat on my back, right? I do have a problem with, you know, like logic, right, or a lack of logic. It really irks me, right? So I watched the video that Ryan put out, and his logic or his reason for why he thinks that he would beat me so easily is based on us after pulling at Zloty, right? And so he said, yeah, he and I only had a couple matches each, not a lot of damage. I went to get Ryan. I got Ryan and said, hey, let's go pull on the practice table. And I don't know if I'm reading into it too much, but he made it seem like as if I grabbed him because I was just going to show him something, right? And that's not the case. Ryan had just lost, and Ryan looked like a broken man, right? And I'm a nice guy. So Ryan's sulking in the bleachers. I said, dude, let's go pull, right? So we pull, and so based on our pulling or whatever, and Ryan was strong, Ryan thinks it's it. He would just beat me. He'd be able to hold me in the hook, and he'd burn me out and all this other stuff. The truth is, I mean, I wasn't fresh, and his logic is terrible. So this was my 4th day of arm wrestling, right? I had pulled David Dadikian as my last match that day, right-handed, and I injured myself in that match to the point that my arm still hurts, right? It's April. I pulled David in December. My arm still hurts, and Ryan thinks that I was fresh for that match. Now, Ryan was probably legitimately fresh because he didn't pull much at all, right? And he also didn't pull the IFA championships before Zloty. So I just think his logic is terrible. Can Ryan beat me? Possibly.
Man,
You know, is Ryan a good arm wrestler? Yes. If Ryan thinks he could beat me, is that really the reason? I would say no.
Yeah, logically you're right, but never ever underestimate a man who's willing to fake his own suicide to get views on YouTube, or threaten his own suicide. What a fucking fag!
Oh God, but you just demonetized the video.
Hey, do I still get the $1,000 you guys told me I was going to get on the show?
Yes, when we get to the yeah.
Sorry, man. I didn't even think of that. I didn't even fucking think of that.
That's
okay. That video brings out, and that's the lowest of the low of the low. It's almost as bad as cheating on your wife. Anyway.
But I mean, he's already got a girlfriend, so that's cool. So
yeah.
What?
So that's the thing with Ryan, right? You've got, and I met Ryan. We talked quite a bit. I hung out with the Australian guys in Poland. Good dudes, right? So I mean, you got Ryan, probably the normal guy, you know, outside of arm wrestling. Probably not a bad guy. You've got Ryan, the arm wrestler, and then you've got Ryan, the promoter, right? So Ryan really wants a match with me, and maybe because it might help him look better as an arm wrestler, maybe because it would probably be, you know, get a lot of views, right? I think it'd be hyped up pretty good, and I just don't care. I don't have the time. I don't have the schedule, right? And so I don't know if that's Ryan's legitimate logic or is this Ryan trying to bait me into a match. But it doesn't work. I mean, I'm the kind of guy, the more you prod, I mean, the more solid I get. So, I mean, Ryan's probably just guaranteed that I'll never pull him in a super match or never do it underneath his banner. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fine. I'm sure we'll see each other in Zloty. And I mean, and like, again, win or lose, I mean, like I said, he's not a bad dude. He's working hard, right? He's going to get better. So I don't have any ill will towards Ryan.
So if he's going to fly you over somewhere to pull him in under the pound for pound banner, you're not going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't give a fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, Ryan. I mean, if I was chasing views, right? If I was chasing matches or whatever, I would have just signed a WO contract a few years ago, right?
Right.
Right.
Gotcha.
And look, if I really just wanted the attention or the stage, I wouldn't have done IFA, and I would have just done Zloty, and I would have gotten qualified for top 8,
Hmm.
right? But again, I'm more principled and freedom driven than I am achievement or people pleasing driven, right?
Interesting. So would that then kind of translate over to Ryan not being, he wouldn't be fulfilling any of those goals that you have set for yourself?
Correct.
So he would have to chase you, which is kind of the way it
No,
should
I mean,
be.
but I'm saying he doesn't have to chase me either. So
Well, he'd have
again,
to, if he wants to pull you, he's got to find you somewhere.
yeah, but again, if I am overrated, if I'm not that good, and it's an easy match, why have the match?
Well, the conversation wouldn't even have happened if all that stuff were true.
So that's the crazy thing to me, right? So
Yeah.
if I'm looking at a certain PAF arm wrestler, and I'm like, man, that dude's not too good.
Yeah.
He's garbage. He shouldn't have the PAF title. Why would I be challenging this guy to a match? I wouldn't, and that's why you don't see me doing it, right? So again, principles, freedom. Again, if it was just achievement, just notoriety, yeah, I would take all kinds of matches, and I'd probably crush a lot of people, right? I'd probably train a little bit harder, but priority now is trying to get back in shape and build those routines, build those healthy habits, right? I can make any weight anytime I want, but I haven't been doing it the right way, and I think it's just kind of made things worse on myself. It made it harder to actually, be healthy long term. So I've got a light schedule. Goal is to do IFA in September, Zloty in December. I want to walk into IFA at 209, no cut, and that sort of thing. I think anything outside of that would probably load my schedule too much, or to the point that I can't focus on health, which is the number one priority right now. Right.
What's your current weight, Herman?
I am 217.
Nice. Jeez, that's good.
Right. So this is probably the first time I've been under 220 without getting ready for a tournament in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and I think I'm doing it the right way. I'm not killing myself. I'm 217. I'm not even training that hard or, doing that much volume. So I'm not really, my diet's just on point. I think I've discovered some stuff that maybe my body's either like allergic to or something that's irritating me or triggering me. I kind of got rid of a lot of stuff, even whole foods that normally, you would think would be within bounds or within limits. But some of these things can mess with you, like nightshades, like potatoes and tomatoes. It messes with some people.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't confirmed that it's a problem, but I've gotten rid of stuff like that, and I think it's helping out a lot.
Awesome.
So you lean towards keto a lot, don't you? Or you have in the past? Or
I have in the past, and again, they all work. I mean, yeah. I've been 195, 200 pounds on basically carnivore's type diet. That was before carnivore was even a thing. I just like to eat 5 pounds of meat a day. I've been under 200 pounds, eating moderate carbohydrates. Right. I've been under 200 pounds, eating a high fat keto diet. So that stuff really doesn't matter, right? You can be at weight doing all kinds of different things. Is what I've learned. But I also have to figure out what's sustainable, what's healthy, what doesn't build bad habits. I've been under 200 pounds eating 1 meal a day, which I think I kind of gravitate towards, and I like it. The only problem is that when you do go to eat multiple meals a day, now you're trained to eat 3 giant meals a day, and then you become 260 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's just trying to figure out what the balance is.
Speaking of 260 pounds, have you seen Passmore lately?
No, I haven't. Is he
the guy is huge.
Well, he was 280 when I pulled him.
Okay, well, he's back training again. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do once this is all over.
Ryan, what do you handicap the Alberta tournament coming? Do you think we're gonna it's high probability that tournament's gonna happen or gonna get postponed?
Well, it's on the bubble right now, so it would be the one that it's the only major Canadian tournament in 2020 that hasn't been canceled or postponed yet.
Right.
Everything up till probably the end of July is for sure done. Now we have August the 8th is the. I'd like to be optimistic and say that it's still going to happen, and if it does happen, it's going to be even bigger because everyone's going to be stir crazy and wanting to go there. But man, I would say that it's 50-50 at best.
Even if, as Canadians, we're able to travel, and even North Americans, can you see at that point even Russians and Kardeccia are able to fly in from Europe?
I honestly think that Europe and Russia and all of Asia are going to be out of this before we are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But that's my very uneducated, get most of my information from the Joe Rogan podcast and CNN kind of opinion.
Okay, gotcha. Fair enough.
Now, I would say that the IFA is probably on the bubble too. Mm-hmm. If it's to the point where they cancel the Red Deer tournament, I think Worlds is done too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would make sense.
And then we're going to have a really busy 2021.
Could you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I can be like a 2-time reigning 95 kg IFA world champion, right? If they don't have it this year,
it carries over. I
would hold the title for 2 years.
So I get 4 more national titles.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So, Gabi, what else was on our list? I know we had talked about some stuff.
I got a segment called "What's Likely to Happen First," and so I just
okay.
Make my brain work and process and try to figure out. And of course, I try to make these as close as possible. So the first one I had was, "What's likely to happen first? Will Mott, isolated from strippers, goes crazy and stabs someone, or Bowen cheats on his new girlfriend?"
Oh, man. And just to be clear, when you say Wilmot, you mean hashtag Walmart.
Yes,
the white guy.
Indeed, that's who I mean.
Man, I don't know, man. Walmart's got some real he's listed some mental illnesses that he has that I've never heard of. Now, I don't know. I think he's developed a sense of humor over the years due to excessive trolling. So I don't know if that was a joke or the dude legitimately has all these illnesses. But, man, I hate to be a fence sitter, but man, the odds are probably pretty even at this point.
That's close, yeah.
It's pretty close. This is a tough one. I can't answer. Especially since WAL canceled this past event.
That was
I gotta take Walmart. I gotta take Walmart.
WAL was his lifeblood. That was his reason to get up in the morning, right?
Yikes.
Now, I don't know if I'm not touching the Bowen thing, man, but the Walmart thing, the Wilmot, the whatever you want to call him, he seems to have a weakness for things like that. And even when we were talking about, when we had him on our show, it wasn't just girls, it was substances. He was talking about overindulging in things and how he was using that for reasons why he lost matches and all that kind of stuff. Now, if he has to isolate from that, some of the things he's been posting, and even previous to that when he still had his match, I'm not sure if it was an act or if he's really starting to be the angry guy that he wants us to think he is.
Man, I'll tell you one thing about that guy. Nothing is fucking. I get bored easy, but nothing is fucking cooler than a person that's completely open and transparent with their darkest demons. That person can hang out with me any fucking time they want because at least the conversation can get fucking interesting. Most people are hiding shit and fearful. I actually love the guy. Like the fact that he's so goddamn transparent. He can go on a killing spree and he'll still be one of my top 5 favorite people of all time.
If he does go on a killing spree, he might be able to jump into my top 5 favorite people of all time.
Oh man, he's not top. He's got to be on the periphery. He's got to be close. Come on, fuck. He's just so entertaining that way.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I think the Angry Bird persona and that bit he did, I thought it was terrible. It wasn't entertaining at all. The real Walmart, that stuff's entertaining.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate part is that like our arm wrestling Facebook community is only so big. You know, you can only have 5,000 friends. So there are people I know that are subscribed to you guys and are going to listen to this that don't know what the hell we're talking about. And the only way you would understand is if you either knew him personally or you were friends with him on Facebook to watch the posts over the years, you know, and the meltdowns. I mean, I don't wish meltdowns on people, and you know, hopefully he can maybe handle that stuff better. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's grade A entertainment.
Well, at one point, nobody thought he would get back into the WAL. Now, is that based on what he had said after a tournament or what he had done?
No, he had burnt every bridge, and that was
Yeah.
just the stuff that was posted on Facebook by himself. Who knows? Who knows what those conversations were like in person?
Yeah. I mean, he burned his arm wrestling team. He burned Kaplan, you know, and then he comes back and he tries to make amends. I mean, a lot of people would just fucking off themselves or go into hiding. This guy tries to make amends and come back in. I mean, he's got balls in a certain way. He might be bipolar and might be a sociopath, whatever. But the guy's got some guts, right? Like I just think he's fucking interesting human being.
Well, the WAL is very forgiving.
Yeah.
Look at Luke Kent.
Mm. Yeah.
How do you?
Well, Luke Kent hasn't come back, right, since that incident, or what? Or
He was back. Yeah, he pulled again.
Oh, okay.
He got embarrassed by Sam Harris, didn't he?
Well, then he left.
Oh,
Yeah, he was starting to lose that match and he walked away.
Yeah.
Didn't finish the match.
Yeah, cried off
That was
stage.
Yeah,
it.
I've never seen anyone control Luke's top roll the way Sam did.
Yeah,
I mean, that was some crazy shit.
that was impressive. So impressive, I almost thought it was staged, but Luke's not that good of an actor, so that those tears were genuine.
But you wouldn't put it past WAL, though.
No, I put nothing past WAL. What I look at is, I know arm wrestlers are not good actors, so if I can see bullshit, it's bullshit. So you can't fake authenticity as a non-acting human being. So for me, I don't look at what motivates them to stage a match. I look at the body language. I look at you know, the narrative. I look at stuff like that. For me, yeah, no, that was legit.
Was that the end of your What Happens First segment, Gavi? Is that just the one, or you got?
I got another one, man.
Well, let's pause for. Let me ask her. Let me get before I lose this in the comment section. Herman, Jody Williams is asking, have you ever pulled Jordan's Sill?
Yeah, I pulled Jordan in 2013 at UAL 3, and this was in the maybe the 235 class, and I think in that class it was me, Jordan, Ryan Clark, Kenny Hughes, I think, Tom Nelson, etc. And I got Jordan early on right-handed, and I kind of controlled Jordan like to the side a little bit, and I mean I felt like I had so much control. I mean I cocked back, and I was gonna just slam him. I cocked back, and I went straight side, and he took my hand and pinned me pretty easy. And so yeah, and you looking back, right? I mean, you could watch Jordan. He's got that real low hand pronation type stuff. So that was never going to work. So Jordan beats me. I go to the B side. I climb through that. Left hand comes up, and Jordan beats me left-handed. So I'm kind of like, what the fuck? Now, again, Jordan was somebody at the time. I was still sort of climbing. This is 2013, about 3 years in. And go through the B side. Right hand comes back up. I knew I had control. I just knew I didn't need to make mistakes. So again, controlled him to the side, you know, slid elbow, blocked, pinned pretty easy. And then left-handed, I used more riser, took the top of his hand, beat him pretty easy. Then I go on. I think I placed second to Tom right-handed. I don't know where I finished left-handed. And then I think I pulled Jordan again in maybe 2015. And he had a super match before the tournament, and so I beat him pretty easy left-handed. We didn't meet up right-handed, I think. But yeah, so not a whole lot of experience with Jordan, and that was a long time ago.
Jordan's an interesting case, I find. if I made a list of the top 5 or 10 most physically gifted arm wrestlers that have yet to achieve their full potential or even close, he would definitely make the top 5 list. I think he's so physically gifted, much like RVJ, big hand, lean. He's got all the physical attributes. I just don't think he's that great of an arm wrestler, but he could be. He could be, absolutely. I mean, he's got such raw skills, raw ability.
Yeah, I just think, man, if I was built like George Sill, you know, I think I'd be killing it, you know?
Oh, yeah, trim abilities.
All right, Gabi, what you got?
All right.
What happens first?
Okay, what's likely to happen first? Paul Lynn harshly criticizes a puller on Facebook,
No.
or Justin Bishop, or Justin Bishop watches Tiger King after the gay makeout session episode.
Justin Bishop, for sure.
No fucking way. He's so that guy's textbook homophobic. There's of course Paul.
So let me just get it straight. What happens first? Paul criticizing someone, or Justin continuing to watch Tiger King after the gay makeout scene?
Right.
Oh man, I don't know.
Does anybody know that he's going to watch Tiger King after the gay makeout scene?
No, he won't.
Have you ever met Justin?
He won't watch the show, but at the same time, Paul Lynn is such a nice guy. I don't see Paul criticizing anybody.
I don't think either one of those things are going to happen.
Dude, you know what I love? Someone will post like a video, and I mean, it's someone who like has no strength whatsoever, you know, like just no strength. And Paul will get on there and be like, "Bro, you're a beast."
I remember a guy came on and says, "I'm looking to get into arm wrestling. I have no physical strength. I have multiple sclerosis, but I'm looking to start. And any advice?" And Paul Lynn came on and say, "Dude, you're a beast. Never give up." I'm like, "Come on, man! Like you're not even helping the guy at that point. You're enabling him. Like just give him some, you know, be optimistic, but give him some, some positive feedback. But Jesus Christ."
Look, Paul's just such a great guy. I know that if I cheat on my wife and she leaves me, I'm not gonna make a YouTube video about it with some music in the background. I'm just gonna call Paul Lynn, right? Yeah. He's gonna tell me all the right things. He's gonna pump me up. I'm gonna feel so much better about myself, and then get back to business.
I messaged Adam Wilmot the other day and I said, "Dude, if you go on a killing spree and end up killing people and you find yourself, running from the cops in some dark laneway with your phone," I said, "to get out of there, call Paul Lynn, tell him what the situation, the bloodshed, the kill numbers, and he'll be like, 'Dude, you're a beast. Calm down. You're good.'" Like Paul Lynn should really do go to schools and stuff and do what do they call it? Lift up spirits and shit like that. What do they call it?
Motivational
speaker. Just say,
life coach.
Yeah, hashtag you're a beast. Just walk around. Yeah. Just get a T-shirt saying hashtag you're a beast, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna pay Paul Lynn to come down here. We're gonna go to North Lake Charles and talk to some of the inner city youth, right? My story isn't uplifting enough, so we'll get Paul Lynn to come and get these kids out of poverty.
Yeah, my mom has herpes and we can't get a job. I haven't had a full cooked meal in 3 weeks. Dude, you're a beast.
All right, Gob, you got any more?
I had another one. Started one where Levan loses a match, but I couldn't find the or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's the or. It's the or. It's whatever you come up with on the other side.
Yeah,
that happens first.
Or what's more likely to happen? Him losing a match or him quitting the sport? I have to say it's him quitting the sport, right? Can we foreseeably see him lose a match in the next? If he stays motivated and driven for the next half.
So here's one.
Yeah.
Him losing a match, or him having severe health issues.
Oh, health issues. That's an easy one. Yeah. Longevity, probably not something we're going to see, but who knows? Of course, maybe Chafee goes over there and smokes him, and that's the end of it.
Here's the thing: I don't think Chafee's I predicted him 2 months ago. I was predicting Chafee to win only because I think he has a little bit more refinement to his high game and high hook and stuff like that. But as the weeks go by, I give the edge to Levan. But Dave's not a dead dog here. I think Dave's arguably the second best arm wrestler on the planet.
Is Dave 100%? That's what I need to know.
Only
I
Dave
believe
knows
he
that.
is. He has to be. Wouldn't he
Seems
have
to be. I think
He
he's
has
going to
to.
make sure he's and this time is going to help him. I think
Yeah.
this extra time to prepare if it doesn't happen in June.
I mean, if there's a guy on the planet that can beat him, it's Dave. So I mean, this is the most. We couldn't ask for a better matchup, despite him being an underdog.
Well, there's only two guys I think that have the chance, and you know who the other one is.
Ryan Bowen.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Danny Cash. We have. It's definitely Monster. He's going to be He's the only other guy that I think has a chance.
Well, his style alone gives him a chance against any. If there was a fucking monster that came down from Saturn or Mars, and we'd have to feed him Michael Todd. Like that move can fuck up anyone's day. I mean, even if he doesn't
Michael Todd has a chance against a gorilla.
He does. He actually does. Like
and I can just see that gorilla getting so pissed off. Like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is this? Fucking 45 minutes later.
Joey,
go ahead,
Gavi.
I said maybe in 20 years they have the science where you can hook a prod up to a gorilla or any animal and they can translate what they're trying to say in modern English, and the gorilla would be like, man, where I come from, you do this, you're getting ostracized. Like you'd be like, we eat our own shit, we eat our own feces, and this wouldn't stand in our community. Like you couldn't get away with this shit, and we eat our own fucking shit.
Jody Williams has one. What happens first? Travis Badgen goes back to WAL, or Robert Drink goes back to UAL?
Oh, Travis. Drink's gone.
Yeah.
Drink's gone.
Travis will always go to the highest bidder. Unlike Herman, Travis has no principle whatsoever. He'll just go to the highest bidder. So it's, of course, conceivable.
Yeah, and I just don't know how, if I can't remember what the issue was. Oh, it was that he wanted to still run his tournaments and side gigs and make money, and WAL wanted him to fully commit to WAL, while not maybe offsetting Travis's lost income from his other gigs. So, yeah, I think they can make that right. If arm wrestling gets bigger and they're willing to spend more money, or for some reason Travis can't or is not willing to do the type of gigs he's been doing, then yeah. And I think that door will always be open because Travis is just that valuable, right, from a entertainment standpoint.
Well, no one could do what he does. He's that charismatic. He's that good behind the mic. He's that entertaining. People tend to gravitate towards him. So the bigger the sport gets, the more money he could stand to make, which is why he's always kind of in the sport.
Do you think he's missing, just on the subject of Travis, do you think he's missing a huge opportunity with kind of letting go of his YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff?
Is he not doing it anymore?
Well, he was on track for a while, and he had Artem kind of putting videos up there. He was monetized in about 4 days, and he just kind of lost interest and focus. It was
well, he's definitely missing out because he could definitely be 100, 200,000 subscribers like Devin, and I'd assume there's some decent money at that level. But Travis comes across as more genuine in his antics than anybody else, right? Like I don't buy Devin, the WAL Devin, right? And I don't know if the new fans that aren't arm wrestlers do either. Maybe they do, and maybe I don't because I know Devin or I've been around, Devin long enough. And I mean, I don't know Devin like that, but I mean, I've been in the sport 10 years and it's a small sport. All of us have talked to Devin, met Devin, hung out with Devin. So I don't buy, a lot of the trash talk and all that stuff.
I buy it. Like, I think he's really turning into that guy. Like, he's...
Oh yeah, and I'll probably give you that. Like maybe he's become something different, right? He's not the old Devin we knew.
Yeah.
Right. And that's possible. And that does happen, for various reasons. You can see people change on Facebook as they gain weight, gain muscle and all this stuff. So personalities change. And that's usually a biggest indicator.
All right, gentlemen, where do we want to go with this?
So let's talk top 8 because we didn't get to it last time.
Yep.
And I think there was a training question, a long one, on in the arm wrestling training group, and I can't remember what it was. I don't know if it was beginner related or whatever, but I'd like to address that one if you can pull that up, Ryan.
I'll see if I can
so
find
top
it.
8. So yeah, I don't know, man. That's a nasty group of guys. I think specifically they wanted to know how John would do against David. Right. Now I pulled David. The dude feels absolutely nasty. But again, 4th day of pulling, I wasn't 100%. And even if I was 100%, maybe the guy still wouldn't feel me. I don't know. But so me pulling David probably isn't worth that much because it's not like, we were close or anything like that. And it's not like I pulled John. So I don't know if I can really comment. I mean, David's shot is on his speed. If he doesn't jump John and get on top of the hook, I think he's going to be in trouble. I think John's going to have too much hand, too much pronation. The question is can it actually become a slow game that favors John? And I don't know.
How do you handicap him on winning the whole thing, Herman? Do you think it's at least conceivable
That John would win the whole thing? So who's in it? You've got Rustem,
Yeah,
Angarbayev,
Sasha?
Oleg Petrenko.
Is Sasha in
Oleg
there?
Petrenko.
Okay.
No Sasha. Oleg Petrenko, David Dadikian, John.
Bowen?
Is Bowen in it? No, Bowen's not in it.
He's not?
No,
No.
he's not in it. No, remember he went 0-2 or whatever.
Oh, that's right. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Okay. And then probably like a couple more Ukrainian types that probably aren't on that level. So just thinking about Angarbayev. I mean, I pulled Angarbayev in 2017, and yeah, he beat me. I was able to slow him down, but that was him using a top roll. Had he gone to his hook, I think he would have just blown me off the table. So, man, I don't know if John can I don't know, man. John's got the shoulder problem, and it's in theory, 1 6-round match with any of these guys could put him on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say the odds are low, but John against any one of these guys,
Yeah.
Just a one-off event, and I mean, John's probably got pretty good odds, right?
Yeah.
Who would you pick as a favorite
Against John?
against to win the whole thing? Like, if you were to say who's the odds-on guy right now, you got to put down.
Got to go with Angarbayev. Although Rustam's right behind him, I would imagine.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Bobby, just based on all the unknowns with John.
The thing with like Herman says, if Angarbayev versus Rustam, 6 matches for the whole for everything, either one can win. I can see Rustam winning that. But when you look at the versatility Angarbayev has in that type of format, compared to Rustam, who we were talking to Tim the other day about having a short arm and being limited in what he can do on the table, you have to give the edge to the more versatile, balanced puller over the guy with the the ace of spades type thing. So I have to give the edge to Angarbayev in that type of format.
So I think I'm going to go with Rustem, right? And we've been watching Rustem against a bunch of super heavies, right? And so of course he doesn't look as good as he would against 209 guys, but the last time he was 209, well, again, most of his success is under 200 pounds. So a Rustem over 200 pounds at 209 or 220 cutting to 209 is just absolutely sick, right? He did Zloty at 209 a few years ago, and Hermes gave him a ton of trouble, right? And even then, Rustem was like driving, like damn near no hand, like just straight knifing down, and still had Hermes down to the pin line. And I don't think Angarbayev has that. Now Angarbayev has a better hook, I would imagine, than Hermes, but Hermes could barely top roll Rustem. So, and I've seen Angarbayev's top roll. Now again, I'm sure that guy is better now than he was in 2017. He's young, he's bigger, he's stronger. But I'm going with Rustem. Like I think Rustem has the best odds. I don't think Petrenko and David are on Rustem and Angarbayev's level. And I've always said that. I've been saying this for years, that I think John could wake up off the couch, right? Like no drugs, no nothing, and just win the WAL 195. So John training, probably on some gear. Yeah, I think he's still with a lot of these guys. It's just going to be the styles. The styles are going to make the matches for John, and then also the shoulder and the speed thing.
Yeah.
Right. But again, if John can like slip, get to the straps, preload in the setup, and he doesn't have to pull the guy. All John has to do is just kind of like lean into that pronation. John's going to flop just about all of them, you know? And then the question is going to be, does John really want to win? Because I'm sure it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
You know?
I think I found your training question.
Okay.
Are you talking about the one that starts off with the question about stand-up arm wrestling?
Yeah, I think it was that one, maybe.
Yeah. The first part of that is, how and why did stand-up arm wrestling become preferred?
Now, so I don't know. I'm going to defer to you guys. I mean, you guys have been around longer than I have.
I know that it switched sometime in the 90s, didn't it, Gabi?
Yeah, and then I think the Pennsylvania and some states kept it on and still have it going on. But I think what happened is one guy eventually, maybe a promoter or someone with some clout, said, "This is trashing our elbows. Every match is, a minute and a half." And it says, let me, and they just came with the idea of standing up to use more body leverage to save your elbow. I remember being 19, 20, 21 and arm wrestling in bars, sitting down. And of course, back then you heal like a goddamn fucking champion, and having wicked pain and elbow pain and stuff like that, more so than I did 10 years into stand-up arm wrestling, practicing every week and competing 12, 14 times a year. And sometimes you hear people saying, well, we should go back to sit down. Those are the same guys that have conspiracy theories with the COVID-19, ironically. But no, man, I wouldn't be in the sport if it was only sit down. It's just it's archaic and it's self-destructive.
And plus you need a team of referees, because there's all kinds of subtle rules, like you can't lift your ass off the bench, and they have a stick there they're trying to slide under your ass the whole time, and it's it's a little bit cumbersome. Says, have you competed in a sit-down competition? I personally have not.
No, I haven't either. But back to the stick thing. So it's really like a lot of Confederate type arm wrestlers that really want sit down to come back. But you tell them that you're gonna have to put a stick near their butt and see how far the sit down arm wrestling goes.
Confederate type.
Yeah. Cowboy boots, jeans, arm wrestling sitting down. I don't know if that's the future of arm wrestling, or that's where we want it to go. Anyway, yeah.
And then who would be the best sit-down arm wrestler? Probably Richard Lupke's.
Exactly. When I read the comment yesterday, I said Richard Lupke's. And I mean, I don't know about actual titles or any of that stuff. But if we only had sit-down arm wrestling, and then let's say Richard's young or something, it's got to be Richard.
We say Richard because he's elite and he's a household name. But the answer is, who benefits the most if the whole sport is forced to go sit down? The answer is Tim Lewis. Pure arm wrestler, only pivots off his arm, doesn't really use his his body that well, isn't athletic, but
yeah. So Tim would move up in the ranking.
Of course,
but I mean, who would be number one? So Tim may have the highest plus, by switching over to sit down. But who's going to be the best? It's a Richard Lupke's type, because he just fucking like crushes people.
Yeah, it'd be easier for me to make a list on who would quit the sport right away, who would be fucking spit out of the sport right away.
Well, it would eliminate the King's move.
Matt fucking Mask would be like
done.
Yeah, 2 and out every tournament. Travis Bajan would not like it. Devin, I can see Devin flourishing. Michael Todd, of course.
Devin is so tall that he would just say, "I don't need the stool. I'll sit on the floor."
Yeah,
and we'll do sit down arm wrestling.
Our buddy Ryan Espy would be in trouble.
I would adapt, Gabi. I would adapt.
Yeah, you would.
I would be at a disadvantage. I've got a short torso and like a short upper arm, So I would kind of be like this on the table. Like it would big time disadvantage.
Anyone that uses a good sweeping move where the body's working in unison athletically, anyone who does that would be minimized. Yeah, I'd be fine with it. I don't. I'd probably be better. The problem is the tax it would take on my elbow is not something. One sit down arm wrestling match would be the equivalent of 20 stand up arm wrestling matches for me. If I can't push sideways with my leg to help drive my elbow sideways to pin my opponent, I would just grind my elbow to dust.
Yeah, but I think Richard would be the best. I mean, you could argue that his entire stand-up career, all he's been doing is basically pulling like a sit-down arm wrestler.
That's how he started. That's how he started it off. He's won lots of world
and he never
titles.
changed.
Yeah, yeah, he's the best sit-down stand-up arm wrestler of all time.
Yeah. Well, or Michael Tadius, one of the two.
Yeah, yeah. But that's beyond sit-down. That's
This is still the same guy. Okay, is there a safe / good way to train your arm to accept a hit aside from table practice, or should you just get stronger and let your connective tissue develop through table practice and time?
I think you're. I mean, I've done it all. I've taken all the hits from Craig as a younger arm wrestler. That was stupid. I mean, I think the only thing I gained out of that was, well, I don't have to be scared anymore. I've already fractured my arm, taking a bunch of hits, so that was stupid, and that was my fault. I've done the catching dumbbells thing. You curl it, you toss it, you catch weight. That's kind of cool. That probably helps your reaction time and your impulse reaction of your muscles. But I mean, you catch it off center just a little bit. You snapped your wrist up. I've done that. That was pretty stupid. I think your best bet is probably just working with weaker arm wrestlers. A lot of value in having weaker arm wrestlers around because they can just hit you and then you don't have to worry about anything. The only problem is that if you're the 150-pound guy on the team, you don't really have anyone weak to pull with. So that's what I would recommend. Let little guys hit on you.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it depends what your training or your pulling style is. Are you trying to beat someone to the hit, or are you loading up and just trying to absorb what they have? And
but he said catching, right?
Yeah. Well,
if we're talking about how to hit, that's a different question.
Accept a hit. Accept a hit. So I guess he's just absorbing. So there is that very risky move of catching the dumbbell. But if you're not faster than the guy, then you need to train increasing static strength.
Correct. And then there's the counterattack stuff, right? Can you counter the guy to take him out of his hit?
Yeah.
I mean, ideally, I would say I wouldn't worry about catching hits. Just train on hitting, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're going to focus on it, I'd say pull with a weak guy,
Yeah. If your hit's a fraction of a second late, you still might be able to stop the guy before you're pinned. And occasionally you can misdirect and hit for position instead of hitting to win the match.
Correct. So if you need a weaker person to pull with, just go to a PAF tournament.
They're there in numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of absorbing, even from lighter or weaker people. I think the most valuable thing you can find, ideally at a practice, is someone with your level of strength and ability, and do multiple ready goes to try to fucking win. Bring your ego into it and try to do everything you can. Try to mimic or simulate a high level tournament. And if you can't get that, go to high level tournaments and absorb high impactful ready goes where something's on the line. I don't know. But for me, I'm not a hitter. I do a rolling load into every hit, which means I start at 0 and go to 10 within about a second. And I draw my chest into the center of the match, into the center of the table, to impede my opponent's surge. And all I have to try to do is stop them somewhere, higher the better. But I'm not a hitter like Ryan or Herman is.
Yeah, and I would just say if you just want to hit, get stronger.
Of course.
Generally, the stronger you are, the faster you should be. Right, the bigger the gap is between you and your opponent. right?
Yeah, or there usually what happens almost exclusively is if you have an opponent or one puller hitting the shit out of another puller. One thing's for certain, he has confidence in his hand that his hand is stronger. So most people ask me, well, I want to get faster. Or I want to become strengthen your fucking hand, strengthen your hand. If it's about getting control to put the match where you want to put it, get your hand stronger. If the question is, I stop every match where I want to go, I just can't finish it, get your arm stronger. But yeah, just get your hand fucking stronger. Increase back pressure. I mean, you add 10% back pressure on anyone. I mean back pressure through the top knuckle, not just through the brack. All of a sudden you'll find them incredibly more confident in exploding to where they want to go, exponentially. So just get stronger. Don't throw all that pressure onto your elbow and absorb and try to get your timing right. Just get fucking stronger.
Yeah, and that's when I really started hitting on people. I really shifted my focus, I think, to side pressure, which was a weakness. Once that came up, then I had no worries about, hitting and then opening up this way. So at that point, it was just, I'm just gonna hit everybody. I have nothing. I'm not gonna break down. So.
Yeah. Well, gents, we're hitting the time here. We're over an hour already. Herman, you want to do it again in a few weeks?
Yeah, sure. It feels like there's something we missed, but I mean, I think we hit some of the hot topics.
There's probably some we missed, but if you figure it out, write it down somewhere so we can make sure we get it on the next one.
Yeah.
Because nothing is really going to change in the next few weeks.
No.
Yeah.
No, that's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, Herman, thanks for coming on again. We appreciate it.
Cool deal. Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, man. See you guys.
Later, boys.